looks so good. Alright, great place.
So whenever you're mixing a color, try not to spread your paint out too much because the more it's spread out, the quicker it will dry up on you. You get a nice kind of deep tealy blue color. If you want it to be more blue, you can add more blue. If you want it to be more of a deep green teal, then you can add more green. But we are just going to start with kind of the simple color here. And now are we ready for the scary part? Okay. Yeah! Say goodbye to your white canvas. All right, so I'm just going to take a line right across. Kind of start my you want to grab a little bit more pure black to kind of throw on the top portion and drag it down. You can. Chipboard. And then I'm dipping the end of my bristles into that water and just giving it a little stir. So the water's kind of blue right now and it's making this an off-white, which is totally fine. But we want that paint to be a little bit liquidy so we can have some fun. Are you ready to see how messy your neighbors are? All right, so you're going to take that watery white paint that's on the end of your brush, you put it next to your canvas, and then you're going to take your finger and pull back and let it rip. So you can add as many or as few stars as you want in your sky here. If you really don't want to do any finger painting today, that's okay. Oh, you're missing out on all the fun. What you could do is take one of your small brushes and dip it straight down in the white paint with the back end. So you're using the wood part to dip straight in your white paint, and then you can use it like a little stamp. If you want to like tie a constellation in there or something, you could. Get creative. You're all going to look like real artists after this.
This is fun. This is random stuff. I'm just messy.
Alright.
It's a meteor shower.
So make sure you're that medium size. And you'll notice that it's picking up some of the blue underneath. And that's exactly what we want. So I'm going to kind of put some outline here where I want it to be organic. And as your white starts to mix with the blue, you'll get some nice variations of other colors. So I'm just kind of stamping on in a circular motion, allowing it to get lots of different colors with the highlights and kind of a darker blue.
The black.
You can always grab more white if you need to. This would be a fun place to go off script if you wanted some like more colorful clouds, but no pressure. So I'm just kind of stamping it in, letting it pick up the blue from underneath, give my clouds depth and variation. Remember, we do have assistants wandering around if you are struggling with your clouds. So the thing with clouds is you want them all to kind of be different sizes, different shapes. Because otherwise you end up looking like Toy Story wallpaper or the Simpsons opener with a bunch of stamped looking clouds. And do we have a Danielle in the room? Because you're wanted at the front. You can always dip it in some more white to accent some of those highlights. If your background is drying up on you, you can use a little bit more of that blue-green color that we mixed and just kind of stamp it in with the white. So if you want that softer look, just take your finger in little circles around the edges. If you want to keep it more painterly, you can skip this step. Totally up to you. Just make sure you don't overblend things to the point where everything becomes the same color, because then you're going to lose the depth in your clouds. You want to have that variation in there.
It's a hurricane. There's hurricane.
We got some really nice clouds out there.
No, mine
Got
was
some
like a
paper
genie.
towel technique going on. We got some Vincent Van Gogh-esque clouds
It
out
was
there.
huge. It looked like it took up half the fucking screen.
Very cool.
What is that?
It makes me so sad when people are like, oh, my painting doesn't look anything like the original. And as the instructor or the assistant's like, that's the exciting part. We want to see the exact same. All right, another minute to finish up your clouds. Got a duck over there. Don't see any dragons though. Somebody should get on that. Alright. Looks like most of us are ready to move on. So go ahead and I'm going to say 2 scoops of green. Bluey teal color. If you want it to be more green, put more green in there. If you want it to be mostly blue, you can put more blue in there. We just want to make sure that it's lighter than what we used in the sky above it.
It was too large.
So now we're going to use this color and we're going to go ahead and fill in probably the next. Little bits and bobs in there. You don't have to if yours is looking nice and dark.
Fucking dead.
And again, you can't see super well on the projector, but my water is nice and streaky, lots of brush strokes. That helps it make it look like water. So use the brush to your advantage.
I don't know why. What is that?
It looks like ice.
Alright, so I think most of you are finished with your little reflections. We're going to give our brush another dab. We're still using our big chip brush. And now we're going to mix up a similar color, but a little bit lighter than what we had above it. So I'm going to do the 2 scoops of blue, 2 scoops of green, and this time I'm doing like a big scoop of white. Last time we only did a little bit of white. So 2 green, 2 blue, and a big healthy white. Just make sure it's a lighter color than whatever is at the bottom section here.
Too blue, too green, and
You need to add a little bit more white, you certainly can. So now I'm basically going to take this color from the bottom all the way up. Yeah, too blue, too green, big white. Just make sure it's lighter than whatever color you have on the bottom here so that there's some contrast. And we'll start to blend in just a little bit. Alright, once you guys are done with that step, go ahead and put your brushes back in the jar for me, and I'll know we're ready for the next little bit, and then it's gonna be break time. And I'm just twisting it as I move it across. So that's gonna give us a nice organic line for where our water breaks on our shore. And I'm going up a little bit into the darker portion. So I'm not doing it right where it goes from dark to light. I'm going up a little bit from that. And then I'm just kind of flopping my brush as I move across my canvas. And just like we did with the clouds, you can pick up some more pure white, kind of put some highlights in there. Just kind of stamping it in.
This is the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack.
Picking up some white again, and I'm just going to kind of razor in with little zigzags, kind of going up to the surf break here. And it's going to mix a little bit with that wet background, so it's not going to look pure white. You're going to have some variation. Time to actually putting it on your canvas. But essentially for a palm tree, what we're going to do is have a line going up. Maybe a solid line would be better. There we go. And then you're going to have little spider legs that come out. That's like the worst black tip brush apparently. Alright, so we got little spider legs. And then thing to remember about palm trees is you want it to end in a point. What you don't want to do is have everything flick out and then you have like this V shape, because that's not accurate to what an actual palm tree is going to be. So you want to make sure it ends at a point. And then basically you're going to just feather in your little lines. What you don't want to do is have have mascara, like clumpy mascara, where your lines are coming straight out, that is not the look we're going for tonight. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put a giant X through that one. So you're just following the same shape of your spider leg and just gently flicking the brush out, coming to a nice little point. We good? We happy with that? All right, feel free. And then you have this cute little hat right on the top. And then you fill that in. And those are your cuts.
Demonstrating
So,
it in black.
we're going to be doing a variety of cuts and palm trees at the very bottom here. So, I recommend using your yellow tip brush, but let's mix up the color that we want first. So, I'm actually going to use my red tip brush to mix my color. Could use your white tip brush for this as well if you want. So now I'm going in. I'm starting with a palm tree. I love the comments. You guys are really good for my ego. All right. So I've got just a little bit of the top part of the trees kind of poking up on this side. So I have a little bit of a trunk. And then I'm going to do my little spider legs coming out whatever direction. And I'm doing those nice feathery lines, so I'm just flicking out in the same direction those spider legs are. It's barely coming up. Remember, we don't want clumpy mascara. So I got one that's sitting kind of low. I'm going to go ahead and do the next one a little bit taller. And my trunk gets kind of thicker towards the bottom. And then my spider legs. And gently feathering out my palm leaves. Not as safe at the top. Extending out past my rectangle that I started with. Fill that in. If you wanted to put like a little finial at the top, you could dip the end of your brush in your paint and just stamp that right on the top.